guys, welcome back. We are on our final part 4 of What If UA High was in the Marvel Universe. And again, I got Jet the Prophet with me. Say hey, Jet.
Howdy, people.
He did such a good job last time, so I'm just excited to have him back on the channel. If you haven't checked him out, make sure you do that. This guy's awesome. And with that being said, let's do this. Now, Jet, I gave you a few. I have a few. So what first one do you want to kind of kick this off with?
All right, so for Shoji, everyone knows him as the guy with the multiple Duplo arms, and that's his quirk. So for him, I made him the part son of Namor and then his human wife. And unfortunately, he didn't get the aquatic part of his dad's power. He's not able to actually breathe underwater. So one day when he was visiting Atlantis with his dad, he got bitten by a radioactive octopus. And now he's able to breathe underwater. You know, it gave him extreme human features. So he's able, he also has the multiple arms, and he also has he's able to make like ears and eyes on the tip of those tentacles. And then eventually, you know, he was like, hey, I want to be a hero like you, Dad. So he was like, all right, just go to UA High, and he's at UA High.
I like it. Cool. Well, I'm going to jump right in with Jiro. So I kind of like this idea that she's kind of this rebellious punk teenager. I even imagine that maybe in this universe, her parents are a little bit conservative. So she's always like doing things on her own, trying to like, oh, if my parents don't let me do this, so I'm going to do what I want because, hey, I'm a teenager. And so maybe she like gets these makeshift tattoos where her parents, you know, can't find out, like hides them like on her sleeve, and that's why she wears the jacket. And you know, she's just doing all these things that again her conservative parents wouldn't like. Well, one day she finds this piece of tech that's actually from Stark Industries. But what's interesting about this piece of tech is it actually looks like an earring. Like it just has this little sharp point in it, and she's like, dude, that's rad, that's super cool. And so she decides that she's going to pierce her ear with it. Well, what she didn't know is that as soon as she did that it was going to give her these crazy powers where she'd be able to jack in her ears into almost anything and kind of blast sound off at any kind of direction that she chooses. And from this, she, you know, obviously starts to try to figure out, okay, well, what am I going to do in my life now that I have this really unique power? At first, she does, you know, stupid little things that the teenagers do, pulls pranks on people. Maybe she found a way to get back at her parents. But sooner or later, she realized, hey, I want to use this for good. Maybe she's even inspired by Tony Stark himself, since it's from, you know, Stark Industries. And ultimately, she finds her way to UA High.
I like that one. And actually, it's kind of funny because I also had a character that's based off Iron Man. Yeah.
Really? Go with it.
So in this universe, Aoyama is the son of Tony Stark. So that's where he picks up the whole flamboyant attitude. That's why he's always looking at himself. He's always looking in at the viewer, at the reader of the comic panel. And it always makes you feel weird. He's always talking to it because he kind of see him. And one day, Aoyama just isn't feeling too good. You know, all Peter Parker, like from Infinity War. And Tony's like, are you okay? Aoyama just couldn't speak. He was about to throw up. His stomach was hurting. So Tony takes a look at him, and he finds out that Aoyama has this strange ability where he's just holding in a whole bunch of energy, like an immense amount of energy that's built up since he was a child to now, and it's just waiting to burst out. And Tony didn't know exactly what to do, so he made a belt that was able to release this energy that's built up inside of Aoyama. So now Aoyama has this belt that allows him to shoot energy out of it. And eventually, Aoyama, appreciating his dad, almost, you know, copying Tony, he wants to become a hero. So Tony takes him to UA to learn to use his power. Aoyama's like, hey, Dad, well, why can't I have an Iron Man suit? I'm pretty sure you can have me release this energy with that suit. Tony says that you have to pass UA before you can become an official hero. So Aoyama is going through UA, trying to be a hero, and eventually when he graduates, he gets his own Iron Man suit where he can use his natural energy and then, you know, basically just become a little Tony Stark.
So basically he's going to become the belly button shooting Iron Man.
Yes, I like to call him Twinkle Man.
Twinkle Man. All right. That's funny. Well, the next one I have is Ojiro. I really struggled with this one. I thought anything from as weird as what if his parents were animals, like a human and an animal, and I was like, dude, that is just That's bad. That is bad. So I didn't go that route. You could have done the mutant, and I was like, well, we already did some mutants. So I decided to go with that Ojiro is actually an alien, and that these aliens look a lot like humans, except for one major thing: they have a tail. He came to Earth specifically because he's interested in martial art. That's kind of what his hero suit looks like, martial artist kind of thing. And so I thought, maybe he's been traveling the world learning different martial arts already. And, once the whole hero registry thing happens in Civil War and they open up UA, he's like, you know what? This is the place for me. Not only because, hey, I'd like to become a hero, but specifically to be able to test my newfound skills that I've been learning over the past few years.
All right, I like that one. Real simple, but actually, I like it. It's just, Ojiro is a simple man. He has a simple quirk, and it's a real simple origin for him. So the next character I had is a top 3 favorite of mine. It's Momoyari Yurozu. I don't know. I'm just in love with her quirk, just being able to create anything that you want. So her origin for me is she grew up just a really smart kid. She's really good. She's excelled at school. She graduated middle school like 3 years ahead of everyone. She's just that smart. And before she went into high school, she was having trouble struggling to which high school she wanted to go to. And instead of going immediately to high school, her parents decided to sign her up to become an apprentice. And she happened to take apprenticeship with the Fantastic Four before they got their powers, where they're exploring space. After 3 years of this, they decided, hey, why don't you come to space with us? You're a really smart person. You can help us out. She goes to space with the Fantastic Four, and that's where the accident happens, where they all get their powers. And she was also involved in that. Everyone came back with their original powers. Momo, she gets the power to materialize any object that she happens to think of using her fat lipids. So she's able to create like a spirit, but she has to know, the atomic makeup, just like how her quirk works in My Hero Academia. And they said, hey, this quirk is extremely useful. Why don't you train under us? She trains with them under a year, and she's able to make objects extremely fast.
Mm-hmm.
And then she gets to the point where she, with this power, I feel like I can help a lot of people. Why don't I become a hero like you guys? She's following in the Fantastic Four's footsteps. So I decided to take her to UA before she's able to actually work with them. And eventually, after she'll be able to graduate UA, she'll be able to join the Fantastic Four, and they'll become the Fantastic Five.
Gotcha. Yeah, interesting. It's a very interesting take on it for sure. Moving on, I got Zero, and I kind of like the idea that he's a Spider-Man from a different universe. They've been doing a lot with this.
Ooh.
What if he is a Japanese Spider-Man that, you could say that, yeah, maybe he was bitten by a radioactive spider that just so happened to let him shoot, webbing out of his, what is that technically out of his elbows?
Yeah, it's his elbow.
Yeah, maybe it shoots out of his elbow instead, or maybe he's a futuristic Spider-Man instead, and he grew up with the legend of the Spider-Man, and so he creates this suit in order to be like Spider-Man, and he calls himself Spider-Man, even though he never was actually bitten by a spider. And just what's strange about him is instead of shooting it out of his wrist, he shoots it out of his elbows. Either way, I kind of see Zero being this kind of Spider-Man person, whether it is from another universe or whether it being from the future. But either way, he finds himself in the current Marvel universe that we've kind of made up for ourselves. He joins UA to become a hero.
Actually, I actually like that. I like that you use Spider-Man because, everyone knows that Zero's kind of inspired off Spider-Man.
Well, what else you got, man?
All right, I think I went through the first 3, so for this fourth one, I have Izuku Midoriya. So in this universe, Deku is a powerless boy. He just dreams of one day helping people. And his role model for this universe is Captain America.
Oh,
and so,
all right. I like where you're going already.
And so, Deku, he just, spends all of his time studying heroes, and especially Captain America. He just loves how Cap is almost a regular human, except like 10 times greater. And he's able to fight with people that can fly and shoot lasers, and Deku just one day wants to aspire to be like that. So one day he ends up getting himself caught up with the Red Skull. He's invading New York. Cap comes out and saves him. Deku's like, hey, I just want to be a hero like you. And so Cap's like, well, just keep training hard. And Deku's like, are you forgetting something? Cap's like, what? He's like, he's like, oh no, for some reason I just feel like you're gonna give me a piece of your hair. And Cap's like,
No
well,
way. No way.
Cap's
Yes. Yes. I was literally waiting to say, oh, does he give him a piece of hair? That's awesome. Keep going.
so Cap's like, I guess, kid. So Captain America gives Deku a piece of hair, just confused, and Deku just looks at it and just eats it in front of him. And he's like, all right, I can feel the power surging within me. And Cap's like, that's not how this works, kids. This is real life. And Deku's like, no. I feel like just somewhere, I know. For some reason, I feel like I can get your power through eating your hair. Cap's like, all right, well, I'm about to go bash in Red Skull's face. Deku sitting there, just feeling all powered up. He's like going Super Saiyan. He looks over and sees a missile coming towards him. Cap's like, watch out. Cap throws the shield at the missile and explodes before hitting Deku. And then right there, while Cap's distracted, Red Skull comes up and just starts stomping on Captain America. And then Deku's like, oh no, Cap's in trouble. I better use this power. Deku runs up and yells, 100% Detroit Smash! Punches Red Skull, and it's just a regular punch. Deku just looks at his hands like, what's happening? Cap's like, I told you, kid, but that gave me enough time to come back and beat Red Skull. And Cap's like, I like your spirit, kid. You know, why don't you train with me? And so Captain America takes Deku under his wing, and eventually when Deku gets buffed out after a year or two of training, Cap takes him to the army where he got his original power. But in this universe, let's say that they're a little bit more advanced than when Captain originally got his power. So it's, you know, a simple pill that Deku eats. It doesn't hurt him, and then he just gains the power to surpass Captain America.
Oh man, dude, yours was funny. That made me laugh.
I was wanting to kind of make it similar to his original origin, but kind of throw off people. So
yeah. No, that's funny. That was funny. So I did Deku as well. Obviously, you knew that. And so I feel like mine are a little more serious and maybe not nearly as in depth. But I like the idea that All Might is, you know, a hero like everyone else. And where Deku is actually a clone of All Might. Not that he's an identical clone, but he's just a clone, you know. They basically taken the same power, some of the same DNA, but not, you know, enough to make him look different. And ultimately, there's this concept where he has to kind of discover who he is, and through that, he finds out that hey, he's actually a clone of All Might. He ends up trying to figure out, okay, well, what am I going to do in my life? Because, you know, with great power comes great responsibility. And what is he going to do with it? What is he going to do with it? You know, is he going to become a hero or is he going to become a villain? And of course, he decides, hey, I'm going to follow in the footsteps of who I'm cloned after and become a hero. So essentially, he joins UA.
I like it. I thought he was gonna throw me off. It was like, I'm gonna become like my clone, and it turns out to be a clone of Peter Parker.
No, so
yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, I don't know. I really like this little series you're doing where like you're taking these characters who are in a world where they're just born with powers and giving them origin stories similar to how normal comics work.
Right. Well, thanks, man. Well, hey, dude, thanks again for being on the channel. Guys, if you haven't seen Jet, make sure you go check him out. We also did a collab over on his channel. I'm going to have a link to that video up top.
It was cartoon characters with My Hero Academia quirks.
Yeah, exactly. And that was a great series. We had a lot of fun together. So make sure you go check that out. And guys, we will see you next time.